Good day everyone, this is Alvin again from the Philippines and welcome to my review of episode 7 of SupraChat for Miss Supranational 2022. Welcome! So this is already my review for episode 7 and the ladies in this group were France, Valentine, Indonesia, Adinda, Cresheilla, Ireland, Shannon, McCullagh, Nepal, Keshu, Khadka, the Philippines, Alison, Singapore, Jiayi Sin, Thailand, Praewwanich, Ruangthong, and Zimbabwe, Kimberly, Tatenda. And it's going to be the same process for all the rounds where they were all asked 3 questions. First one is a personal question. Round 2 is question from the fans. And number 3, similar question to everybody else. And in this round, they were asked, which historical figure, good or bad, do you think of the biggest impact in your country? Good question. And as usual, there will be 2 winners for this episode 2. Number 1 will be voted by the fans, followed by the candidate voted by the judges based on their performances. And after listening to all of the responses, here's my ranking. This is actually quite a difficult group to rank because it feels like everybody did their very, very best. So regardless of the ranking, kudos to the women in this group because you all did amazing. But I have to do it. So here's my ranking for episode 7. Starting with my number 8, Ireland. Shannon McCullagh, she was asked how she handles stress and pressure. It was more of an okay-ish answer to me. I appreciate her sort of advice as a response, but it wasn't that impactful. So that's very important. You need to make sure that your answer gives an impact to the judges. For the last question, she mentioned the former Prime Minister Tony Blair, who is an advocate for peace. And oh my gosh, I honestly think that her choice here was excellent, especially how she talked about how he became an advocate for peace. But then again, I wish she continued more and elaborated more on how it could have been helpful with the current situation in our world right now. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity. My number 7 goes to Singapore. Jiayi Sin, she was asked about something that only nature can teach humans. She actually gave a good answer about nature being peaceful while humans being bound to have conflict. I just wish her reasoning were a bit stronger because that's where it lacked substance a little bit. For the last question, she chose Lee Kuan Yew and talked about how he helped Singapore turn into a developed country. Her answer was great too. However, I wish she gave us something more because her response to me was kind of a textbook answer. Her response was kind of something that we can read from the books, from internet. So I wish she gave her personal touch to her response. My number 6 goes to Thailand. Praewwanich Ruangthong, she was asked how she made her voice and opinions heard by the society. First of all, I commend her for speaking in Thai, and you can really notice her confidence level when she was speaking in her language compared to when she spoke in English in the introduction. I mean, for her response, I loved it. I love how she started with studying your audience first and using all available platforms to send out your message and relating it with her personal experience as Miss Supranational Thailand. Her answer was good, but if I could make her response better, I would add some topics or issues that she would like to address or she already addressed using her social media. That would have been more effective and powerful. For the last question, this is extremely disappointing, but she did not answer the question at all. No, I tried to replay it every time to see if I just misheard how she responded, how the interpreter interpreted her answer, but to me, she did not answer the question number 3, the general question. So that's why I placed her a bit lower. My number 5 goes to Zimbabwe. Kimberly Tatenda, she was asked about the most important thing that we should teach young people. Her answer was actually quite interesting, especially when she mentioned prosperity generation. I also appreciate that she recommended a book for us to read, which is connected to her answer. For improvement purposes, she really needs to work on eliminating fillers like and because it was distracting. And she's been using that. She's been doing it in her response, so she really needs to work on that. For the last question, she chose Robert Mugabe, the former president of Zimbabwe. She gave a great answer. I love how confident she was talking about him. Loved her energy and her smile when she was answering. It was just radiant. But then again, the fillers needs to be eliminated. So for all of the rounds where she was answering, that's really the major flaw that I need her to work on. My number 4 goes to France. Valentine Lecour. She was asked about her favorite Disney character. It was more of a personal response. She mentioned Piglet from Winnie the Pooh, which I think is adorable. And overall, it was just a simple answer. She looked adorable, and I feel like we weren't really able to see how great she is in public speaking for this round because that was a very easy question. It was a simple answer. I mean, it was a simple question that requires a simple answer, and she was just adorable during that round. For the last question, she mentioned the architect of Eiffel Tower. I kind of like her answer too. She was enjoying talking about it and very engaging to listen to as well. Honestly, I like France overall. She's got a radiating aura and personality, and it's hard not to like her. My number 3 goes to Indonesia. Adinda Cresheilla. She was asked how she see the role of modern women in the society. I actually like her answer, especially when she started comparing how we see women before to how she looked at women of today. However, her response was quite repetitive, and if she wanted to give similar thoughts, she needs to use different terms to avoid sounding repetitive. For the last question, I actually like her answer, and the person that she chose was Raden Ajeng Kartini, who defended women's rights in her country. The first half of her answer was really good, and I like how confident she was talking about her, but on the last half, I felt like there's a little bit of disconnection with how she understands good or bad in the question. So that kind of prolonged her answer, which was already a bit unnecessary if she only understand the purpose of good or bad on that question. But I would just like to focus on the first half, and that was good. And the second half, where she talked about good or bad, that could have been eliminated because those were unnecessary. Okay, so hopefully she'll work on it next time and try to she did get the question, but I feel like there's a little bit of disconnection with how she perceived that part of the question. But she's okay. She speaks very, very well, and I can really feel the sincerity in how she speaks, and that's something that I truly commend about Indonesia. My number 2 goes to the Philippines. Alison Black. She was asked how she handled criticism from social media trolls. She showed that she's got command when it comes to public speaking. I love how she made herself vulnerable and relatable when she said she was nervous being judged. I truly love that. But I love how she turned things around in her response by taking things constructively. Very good. Great performance for that question. For the last question, she chose Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. I adore her for making it personal once again and connecting it to her love for arts. But to me personally, my winner for episode 7 of SupraChat for Miss Supranational 2022 goes to Nepal. Keshu Khadka. She was asked what perfection means to her. I find her answer quite good and quite inspiring too. I love how she answered the question and the way she delivered with that sense of sureness in her answer was great. I also love the depth in her response here, which really showed that this is the woman who really thinks deeply about her response, and she just did that flawlessly. For the last question, she chose Balendra Shah, the youngest mayor in history. I just have to commend Nepal. The way she delivered and answered the question was just spectacular. She was super articulate, she was confident, and the way she defended her choice was commendable. And the main reason why I chose her as the winner is it's because compared to the other ladies, all of them, actually majority of them, did really well. But for Nepal, I love the depth in her response. It wasn't just simple responses, but I really love her thought process, especially with the way she gives out her responses. So that's the reason why she took the lead, and she's my winner for this episode. So, do you agree? Do you agree with my commentaries, my ranking, and my winner? So don't forget to leave your comments below. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and share the video as well. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe because you'll be seeing more of these videos in the future. For now, thank you very much and have a wonderful day from the Philippines.